Devin Neal, another Kansas kid.
Yeah.
The kid is an animal, man. You can see he works hard off the field too. Just watching that kid when he get that ball, man, and just how he's built, man. Holy, the kid is look like a created action figure, man. The kid is a baller, man.
Yes, he is.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Welcome to the Booth Review. I am your host, Brandon McAnderson. We are coming off a bye week, getting ready for homecoming as Kansas at 1-5 faces Houston, looking to get off of that 5-game snide. I am joined by my former teammate, Orange Bowl legend, defensive back, as well as winning the Inside Bowl, just an ultimate winner, a JUCO legend as well, Kendrick Harper. What's going on, man?
How you doing, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm so glad to have you on. It is so hard to call you Kendrick Harper because I have called you only K-Hop. It's the first one when I met you. Everybody knows this guy is K-Hop. Harper Island training, what he does now, and we'll get into that a little later. But let's start when last time most fans connected to you as you were finishing up your career after the Inside Bowl with 2 bowl victories, heading off into professional football. Just take us from there and your career after Kansas.
So at the Kansas, man, I really didn't know what I wanted to do in life. You know how it is when you come out of college, man. Everybody's thing is to go to the NFL. God just had a different direction for me. It wasn't NFL, so it was something different. Just training athletes and mentoring athletes, man. And I've been blessed to do that, man.
Yeah. That's it's just a great way to connect to community, great way to pay it forward, great way to have reciprocity, all the things that you learn, being able to pass that down to people. Now, as you continued into your football career, you stepped in and played arena football for Wichita Wild. Just describe the length of your career, what you learned, just how much you enjoyed playing that level of football, and then your accomplishments as well.
I played 11 years of indoor football, and when I say it was some of the best football I've played, it was fun. It's 50-yard field, man, very fast. Got a chance to play against Terrell Owens, man, and that guy, he was different out there, man. Just recently, I think last year, I got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Ended my career with 77 interceptions, the most ever in indoor football league, man. So I was just blessed to play with some amazing teammates, great coaches, man, that mentored me in the game. Even the players, before me who mentored me in the game, man, and that just helped my game go even higher, man.
Yeah, I know I was always watching, checking out your highlights, man, always picks, always pressing guys at the line of scrimmage, throwing people over the side, throwing people over the rail. I like the physicality and the entertainment value of it. And it's also good to hear, this is something I've been harping on a lot recently, but people seeking things for joy, and being connected to the game for as long as you have, and being able to be around more people and continue to play and be a part of the growth of the game. I just don't think that you get enough appreciation for your commitment to it. And we see you, and I appreciate your career and all the things you were as a player beyond Kansas football. So congratulations on that Hall of Fame as well. Now, you talked about how that took you towards the end. You get done with football, you're kind of deciding what you want to do, and you go into training. And, right from jump, I start getting these messages on Twitter. This is when you were working in Wichita. And I'm like, K, what's going on, man? He's like, man, there's a player out here, bro. You got to take him out. You got to get him to K. You got to hear him. You got to see him. And it was Breece Hall. You don't do a lot of bragging. That's not your thing. But if you have ever been more right in your life, you sent that. I don't know if he was even a sophomore yet. He might have been through 3 or 4 games as a sophomore when you sent it to me, because I remember thinking, I don't see this guy on anybody's radar. But man, were you right? Just describe, getting a chance to train him, getting a chance to build a relationship with him and mentor him, and then see him become, a premier NFL back.
The kid is a great kid. Let me start off by saying that. But when he was a sophomore, he was playing JV football.
Uh-huh.
He didn't see any varsity time until when we played Derby at the end of the season. But I knew when he played freshman in JV ball, I just knew that kid was that guy. Like you said, I told you, I told some other coaches, I said, hey, we need to get on this guy ASAP. I mean, he's going to be the guy. I can just feel it. And when I say his first offer came from Iowa State, I kept harping on it. Hey, KU, you guys need to get on, man.
Yeah.
But, it took a while, man. But Brees, man, that kid, he was special, man. He was very special.
Now that like identifying talent is something that, if you looked on Twitter, you'd think it would be really easy, right? Everybody knows who the blue chips are. It's not that way. And interesting enough for me, I coached high school football for 4 years after I graduated. So about 2010 to 2014. And I didn't always have a great eye of telling who was next and what was next. That wasn't a strength of mine. So what is it about your experience that connects you to seeing that thing in a person, in a player that might be able to get him to the next level? And I don't mean to the Breece Hall level, because you're not going to train 1,000 Breece Halls, but you are going to train a bunch of guys that end up playing college football. So just describe, what you look for and how you evaluate talent in that process.
I mean, just a kid's drive, just his willing, outside of what he's doing at school or with his coaches. I mean, the kid trained his butt off, man, behind the scenes. And that's what I try to harp on about kids these days. You have to train behind the scenes outside of what you're doing with your coaches, because that's the work that's going to come to light. Everybody know you're going to work hard, when you're with your coaches, but what are you doing outside of that? And that's what that kid brought to the table, man. And it shows in the NFL, and it definitely showed when he was at Iowa State, man. So, I just commend that kid for just staying locked in on his dreams and goals, man. And now he's enjoying the fruits of his labor.
Now, one of my favorite things about watching Breece at Iowa State was his second level running. It was a joke, man. I know you saw it up close. You were part of seeing his athleticism and explosion and all that development. By the end of his college career, his ability at the second level to make people miss, stay at top speed, it was a joke. Like, if you didn't have two guys, you had no chance. If you had one, forget about it. And that type of skill set is what I associate most with NFL running backs, is the ability to, once you get to the second level, what does it look like? Like, what are the other players around you? How are they reacting to you? And I can't help but think about the level that Breece got to and how close Devin Neal is to that right now. Yeah. So in that you saw Breece up close and helps train him, and now you're watching Devin, do you see that kind of similarities in that big-time NFL ceiling?
Oh, absolutely. Devin Neal, another Kansas kid. The kid is an animal, man. You can see he works hard off the field too. Just watching that kid when he get that ball, man, and just how he's built, man. Holy, the kid is look like a created action figure, man. The kid is a baller, man.
Yes, he is, and that's kind of what I think about too, because that's another thing that Breece has that I think Devin showcased last week against Arizona State, and I think he'll have a chance to showcase more in the season. Breece can be a menace in that passing game, whether it be a screen or running option routes and getting out and running one-on-ones on linebacker, something that Breece is great at, something I think Devin is great at. And I'd like to see some of that incorporated into the game plan. And like I said, they're going to continue to see that thing evolve and keep pushing forward. So now, you get a kid like Breece Hall. I officially call you a Kansas, and I know you say you're a Georgia boy, but you've lived 3 different Kansas cities now here in the Kansas City area. You trained all these kids. So talk about Harper Island and what you have going now, and some of the players and prospects and what it looks like for you as you're developing your business.
So just let me tell you how Harper Island even came about. I always get asked this, and, never really told nobody how Harper Island really came about. Coming into JUCO, Butler, 17-year-old kid, mom dropped me off, man. One duffel bag of clothes, no money, no nothing. Mm-hmm. My mother literally said, son, I raised you for 16, 17 years. Now it's time for you to be a man. So that's where the island came from. I just felt like I was on an island by myself with no help, no nothing. So that's where the Harper Island came from, man. I just wanted to get that out there. I haven't even told nobody really that story before. Just coming from a single mom and one duffel bag of clothes, no money. So I was dropped off in JUCO. But, the Harper Island training, man, I love it, man. It's a passion of mine. B-Mac, I wake up every morning working out and stuff like that. So I always want to give back to the kids on what I've learned, throughout my KU career. And, just training these different athletes, man, because a lot of these kids, they don't understand the fundamentals of even how to run, right. And I'm enjoying the process with these kids, man. And it's just, the Kansas City area is full of athletes up here. It's flooded with athletes, man. So I'm just blessed to be in a position, to help these athletes get to where they want to go in life.
So one of the things I think about too is like everybody's going to know about the Breece Halls, and you're a coach. It's like they're like your kids. You don't have favorites. But what's a story that's come to mind over your career of a success level you would compare to Breece Hall, but not necessarily related to what their football accolades were, but just for what that person became based on where they started? Do you have a story like that you could share about someone you developed and became exceeded all your expectations?
So one kid, prime example, and I'm gonna say his name, Trey Ridley. He started as a sophomore at Blue Valley Northwest, and you don't start as a sophomore at Blue Valley Northwest, that school.
Right.
So that kid, I started training him going into his junior year. His dad sent me his film. I watched his film. I broke every little thing down of everything he needed to work on. So going into his junior year, he goes to Iowa State football camp in the summertime. And I told his dad and him, I said, these are the drills you're going to be working on. So let's work on these. We're going to be consistent working on these drills, and this is what you're going to see. The kid that summer, went to that camp that summer, and they offered him right on the spot. Now,
wow.
Yeah, so they offered him right on the spot. So, he gets into his senior year, he's balling. So, somebody else committed before he did, so they took his scholarship away. But that kid now, he's at South Dakota State. He's one kid you guys going to be hearing about, man, over the next few years. He's redshirting this year. Which is good for him. But over the years, you're going to hear about Trey Ridley. That kid, he works his butt off, on and off the field. Great student, A+ student, great family. But the kid, he's up next.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. And if you're playing at South Dakota State, you're playing championship football because they don't really know anything else. So just beyond what he was as a player in high school, getting his early accolades, going to a school like that, where they play as good as football as anybody does in the country. So shout out to you, Trey, man. We'll be looking for you. And I just love to hear the stories of development, because I remember being a coach and thinking about, every kid has a different ceiling. It's not about what that ceiling is. It's about getting the kid to that ceiling. That's what coaching is. It's about making sure that guy gets to the top of where he's supposed to be. And if I didn't do that, then there's something I didn't do or something I missed. But that's what I appreciate about it feels very grassroots. I take my son out there with you when I get a chance and have him get a chance to work out with some dudes, man. It feels like that's what you're hyper focused on, man, helping that individual player reach his ceiling. So another thing about your training that I've really enjoyed is also how things have changed and how players have evolved. Like, what have you seen, like, speaking from early age, what kind of athletic development, how has it changed since when you started in the game to where you are now? Because K-Hop, when I see these young freshmen on KU's campus, I'm shocked. I'm shocked at their movement ability. I'm shocked at their preparation. I'm shocked at where their bodies are from a maturity level. So what are you seeing from this generation of young football players and their rapid development?
Man, to be honest, man, I don't know what it is in the water these days, man. These kids, these kids are looking like seniors.
Right.
Like, I'm not sure what they're doing from high school development to now, man, but you just seeing more of, freakish athletes, man, that, we've never seen before. Prime example, the two freshmen we got here right now, Warner, number 15.
Oh, my goodness.
The kid looks like a grown man.
Yes, he does.
So it's the kids are different these days, man. And God, I don't know what they're doing out there, man. But just to see how these kids are looking, man, it's scary.
Yeah, it is, man. And I think there's just so much of, you always feel like the older generation. Back in my day, man, these cats, I didn't look nothing like that. I didn't have that understanding even, to have that grasp of what I needed to do and where I needed to go. It seems the vision is just clear. And before we move on from your backstory, man, your mother dropping you off at Butler, the Harper Island story, I really love that story, because I'm not going to say my story was completely similar, because it wasn't. But my brother went to Garden City Community College, and he's 2 years older than me, had a good high school career. And we pulled up to Garden City, didn't smell great, There were dudes out there hooping. There were mattresses on the floor, dudes smoking cigarettes, black and mild. And I'm like, what happened? And my dad's like, hey, man, focus on your academics, man, because if you don't and you have to come here, it's hard to get out of here. Like, it's hard. And seeing that firsthand and knowing that you were dropped off into that with the instructions, I'm dropping you off here to survive. So if you can just touch on that, what it was like in that day to try to get out of JUCO. I know that things have changed with the transfer portal and whatnot, but then that was a primary source of finding players, and it was not easy to get out of those places.
So back when I was coming up in JUCO, they had a 12 out-of-state rule. I'm not sure if you remember this.
Yeah.
They had a 12 out-of-state rule, and the rest of the guys were all in-state guys. And, I mean, that just made it that much harder for, guys coming from Georgia, Florida, Texas, out of state to, earn a roster spot. So I get there. I already know I'm a red shirt, man, because the guy in front of me, he's going to Auburn. I mean, he's a corner. He's going to Auburn. So I already know I'm going to be a red shirt. So I had to take it how it was. And what motivated me was, man, I knew I didn't want to go back to my hometown, because I was there for a reason. School. And then, to get up out of there. But, I mean, it was just a blessing that I was given an opportunity, man. A lot of people don't get that opportunity, even to go to JUCO. And
right.
JUCO is tough. I mean, one of the toughest places I've ever been, man. But it really molded me into the guy I am today, man. Guys like Coach Morrell and the late Coach Bratt, really stayed on me. We had what we call 5:55s in the mornings. You don't know about this, B-Mac. It's
thank goodness.
So 5:55 in the morning, you're working out from 5:55 to 7:30. No water break, no nothing. I mean, nothing but running and working out hard. So if one person miss, you got a 4:55. So I had it in my mindset, man, it's either you're going to do the work or you're not going to do the work, man. So that's why I harp on these kids all the time, man. Just stay on your mission, man. Never let somebody get you off your mission. Because JUCO, like I said, if you don't have to go to JUCO, don't go. But if you do, I'm telling you, you better be ready because it's a different grind. So, like when I got to KU, because when you're in JUCO, you only get one pair of shorts, one T-shirt.
Yeah.
I get to KU, man. It's like Christmas to me, man. So,
yeah, man.
I was blessed, man.
Yeah, I just love how that's like almost, the development of the character, right? You to come out of those places, you got to have strong character. You got to have a strong belief system and toughness because it is tough to get out of there. Well, Home Field provides all the great college gear. They have incredibly comfort, officially licensed. They have over 150 colleges, including your favorite team, including my Jayhawks. They got Orange Bowl shirts. They got different colors, hats, everything you wanted, man. Everything is designed with that nostalgic apparel look in mind. They want to pull on that, and you will be a part of that by wearing this gear, by wearing the Home Field gear. You'll be back to college. It's homecoming weekend as we head into Houston. So, man, if you can get on Home Field and get something, even if it's for a later game in the season, the cold weather's coming, they've got some of the best looks you can find. Any Jayhawk gear, homefieldapparel.com is where you want to go. Homefieldapparel.com. Use code PAYHEED24.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your number one source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
All right, so it's homecoming week. The Jayhawks get ready to face Houston 1-5. They've been on the snide. We've talked about it last week, previous weeks about some of these struggles. But right now what stands in front of them is opportunity. When you come off a bye week, you come out fresh. And we've seen in the past what that's done to the legs of Devin Neals and Daniel Highshaw. These guys have come out ready to rock and roll. We started talking about Breece Hall, and we talked a little bit about Devin Neals, so we're definitely going to talk running backs first. Devin Neals sits right now 181 yards from being the all-time leading rusher and 3 touchdowns away from being the all-time leading touchdown man at the University of Kansas. Houston sports a pretty good defense, especially in in total points and yards per play. But man, I can't wait to see Devin Neal get out and chase this record. K-Hop, you talked about, what Devin physically, what he looks like, what his abilities are, and we all marvel at those things. But how cool is it for the University of Kansas to have somebody from their hometown in line, to be the all-time leading rusher and all-time leading touchdown man in the history of the school? I mean, how many places can say that?
A lot of people can't say that, man. I'm just, I'm glad he even got an opportunity to play at the University of Kansas. I mean, being right there in Lawrence in his own backyard goes to show you a lot about the type of kid he is to even stay at home. I know he had a lot of other places that he could have went, but he chose to stay at home. I mean, he even chose come back for his senior year. I mean, that says a lot about the kid, man. It's not about the money for him. So it goes to show you the type of kid that he's about, man. He want to change what goes on at KU, man. And we're definitely blessed that he even came back for his senior year.
Yeah, man. There's just a sense of ownership. When you are pretty widely considered to be an NFL prospect, especially at a position where most of the time they're like, yeah, you should go as early as you can. He bucked that for an opportunity to come back here and play, come back and represent his university. And I think he's proud about what he's been able to accomplish. And being a Lawrence native, seeing, the John Hadel statue, there's no reason why one day this guy might have a statue sitting up there, based on what he's able to do in his NFL career, based on what he's already done in his college career. Man, I cannot wait to see him get out and chase this record. And honestly, K-Up, I can't wait to see them get out there and play football, because there is an element that I think that most, like a general fan, may not understand about how much your senior year means to you. Like having these opportunities dwindle down, you're looking at the schedule. We're like, man, I only have 6 games guaranteed in my career left. Just talk about as a senior what it's like for these guys to wrap up the season, separate them from all what's gone on so far, and how they can come out and possibly win 5 straight games, put themselves in a position, to reach some of those goals.
I honestly think we can win out, man. We're right there. It's not like, we're losing by 20, 30. We were right there, man, just a few plays away, just a few defensive snaps, defensive plays away. But, man, senior year, man, it's like, you got 6 more games, 5 more games, and next thing you know, it's going to be no more games,
Yes.
Like I said before, everybody's always thinking about NFL, but you got to think about other opportunities outside of that, because, once that game is over, man, it's gone, man.
Yeah, it's tough. And that's a good point you make. And when I think about where I was when that all ended and how I felt, like I had so much gratitude for the opportunities that I had, so much opportunity, so much gratitude for being able to put the uniform on at all, being able to go out there and compete in front of my fans for a place that I truly, truly love. So I always look at this and say, man, these guys got to be present with this moment. And I know there's just, this year there's been a lot of noise, whether it be the stadium rebuild, playing in Kansas City, preseason accolades for individual players, preseason accolades for team players. There's just been a lot of noise. And I think sometimes that bye week gives you a chance to lock in. So just describe your experience coming off the bye week, how it helped us in preparation, and some ways that you expected to help this team in preparation to, like you said, sure up some of these small details, because this isn't, a big picture struggle. This is 5, 6, 7 plays that you really need that you haven't been getting. How does that bye week help you mentally and physically to kind of prepare for this stretch run?
I tell you what, man, that bye week is crucial, man. We needed it it came in at the right time.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to reset. It gives you a chance to refocus, man, and just get away from the game of football. Just focus in and thinking about yourself, man, and, just getting your body back to where it used to be. But, just giving these guys a chance to just be with their friends and family, man, just getting away from the game. Because, man, how people are, man. They're down on these guys. I'm not that guy, man. I'm win, lose, or draw. I'm always gonna be with my guys, man. That record we are right now, it doesn't define who we are as a team, man. I can just see these guys. They're fighting and clawing compared to years and years ago. It wasn't no fight, but these guys got fight in them, man. They got dog in them, man.
Yeah, I love that you said that too, because we've been spoiled by the success of this program and how quickly they've skyrocketed to the top. And I just want to remind people that this season is more like what college football is like than the previous 2 seasons, where it did feel like we skipped steps. We did it through injury at the quarterback position 2 years in a row, but the success, there weren't a lot of big failures, those big moments. Guys were making plays, the same guys that are falling a little short now. I haven't lost even an ounce of faith in this team for the reasons you mentioned. Like, sometimes I have to like shake my head a little bit in terms of what the public perception has been to what I've experienced. I've experienced a good football team that's a few plays away from being really close to where they're supposed to be. I recognize the disappointment, but I also look at it like they're not that far away. That little rest, like you mentioned, that mental rest, that ability to reset your how you feel about the game, your body feeling better, having a chance to come out and play again, to come out and play in homecoming, to break records, to put yourself, in some of those NFL conversations. And like you said, for the guys that aren't, more opportunities to compete, to do something that you love at the highest level. So I'm with you in all those expectations of how that might come to be. What we saw against Arizona State was a passing game. The passing game continuity really, really came together. I thought it had a lot to do with the, hitting the backside of the backfield on some of those checkdowns, kept drives going. JD really felt like JD, as much as we've seen him in a while, just looked really comfortable. And he's been on the uptick in general. He's just been playing better. And I think Arizona State was really the first opportunity where we've seen, oh, that's that guy. What do you expect from JD to continue that against Houston?
I think this Houston game, it being homecoming weekend, I think JD going to probably have one of his best games, man. Like you said, we play Arizona State, you can just see he just looked like himself again. He just looked like a kid. He just out there just having fun with, just doing what he loves to do. And I think JD is going to have a breakout game. People have been hating on him all year. That's okay. You're going to have those. What is somebody hating on you going to do with, your performance? So I think JD is going to be very special this week. I think he's going to be.
Yeah, man. Yeah, his rhythm, he just looked different. Like the long yardage situations, his confidence seemed to be growing every time they had an opportunity to do that. The things he did with his feet. One of my favorite plays was he had pressure up the middle, knew it was a dead play, throws up the ball to LJ, forces a pass interference. That's his play. That he gets credit for that. That's a guy that's paying attention to the situation, giving his guy a chance to make a play, forcing a penalty. I liked his rhythm, and I like how the offense, the coordinators, both, with Coach Grimes, I like the way he complimented it. When he got him going in the places that really mattered to him. And it was really nice to see Quentin Skinner get going, man. He has probably performed below expectations for it himself, for sure. But seeing him in the blocking game downfield, going up and making contested catches, that last touchdown, man. So I expect those guys to keep it going. Grimm's been consistent. LJ's next, right? It's time for LJ to take that big step, because we know this is a big game receiver. He's been that his whole career. What kind of things are you looking for LJ to kind of get back on track as well?
For LJ, he's just got to be himself, man. I know when he get his opportunity, he's going to make a play. We all seen it last year from him. So once he get in his rhythm, man, to where he's getting the ball consistently, he's making plays, LJ is one of the best in the country.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Now, on the defensive side, this is a defensive back group that came in as decorated, and rightfully so, as any defensive backfield in the country. We've seen great performances from Kobe. He was banged up last week, so we saw an Orr on the depth chart, so we hope he's able to go. If he's not, man, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at these rookie corners, KU people, but Jalen Todd has special written all over him. Austin Alexander has special written all over him. I don't think we'll see Austin at all this week, but I'd love to see Jalen Todd get out there and compete. How much have you seen of the young corner in Jalen Todd? Big physical guy, 6'1", 190 from Detroit. Not only just him, but just give me what you've seen from the corners this year. You see Melo have these really high highs and be a little inconsistent at times. Just describe the performance of the corners this year and what you like.
We got the best secondary in the country, I think. You might not see it displayed on the field, and that probably could be, when they give up a big play, they get right down. That's going to happen, because those guys on the offensive side of the ball, they're going to make plays as well. But we got to, as a DB, you got to have that short-term memory, man. The next play is up. The next play is the most important play. And I think, with a guy like Melo, he's been having his ups and downs for sure. But the kid is a baller, man. We've seen it this year. He might give up a play. Next thing you know, he's getting an interception for a touchdown.
Right.
So Kobe. I mean, Kobe's been consistent by far.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, man, compared to when he was a sophomore, freshman type kid. But man, I mean, the kid is he's the real deal. Grant, I like Grant. Grant is a big dude, man.
Yeah.
Even guys like OJ. I mean, OJ, OJ got his highs and lows too, but OJ, he's a playmaker. But I also like number 24, McGee. If I'm saying that right. Man, he's a special player too, man. I think this secondary we have coming up, man, these young guys, when they're given opportunity, I think they're going to turn some heads.
Yes, they are, man. Sticky in coverage, long. They all have that ability. One player, I'm glad you brought up OJ. If you look at the results, like you said, you're not going to look at it and say, oh, that was a great day or a bad day. OJ was really good against Arizona State. I love the way he played in the run game. He popped Scatterboo a couple times. It's inside of that box. I thought his commitment and effort, like you mentioned, like that guy was every play was at 100+%. I mean, that guy was fighting his tail off in that game. He's a guy that I'm pretty excited to watch this weekend, man. A Georgia boy. Just talk about his performance last week. We had Taylor Davis, the safety, 27, a redshirt freshman from Houston. I thought he was awesome. He was aggressive. Both the Dye brothers are banged up, so he got a chance late in the game, and he's expected to play an even bigger role this week. Talk about OJ and some of his physicality in the run game against Arizona State and why that'll be important to carry over to Houston.
Oh, it's going to be very important. OJ, he's not that big of a kid.
Right.
But he plays like he's a Darryl Stuckey coming down there, man.
Right.
I mean, the kid can play ball, but a lot of people don't really think and see that, man, because of, him giving up plays, this and there. But I think OJ is going to be he's going to be great this week, man. I just got a feeling about this game, man. This Houston game, coming back home from that bye week, like I said, reset, refocus. So these guys, I think they're going to come out fired up on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. We talked about last 2 minutes of the half. That's been the big downfall so far. It's a team that this is a pretty good team, and then the statistics will tell you in that last 2 minutes they're one of the worst teams in the country. So it's one of those things where there's one focus, and it has to be universal with everyone. And I think it will be on a veteran team. What kind of things would you like to see just from the players themselves, whether it be something tangible like, change in philosophy or something like, emotional, a change in body language? What kind of urgency, what kind of things will tip you that this Jayhawk team is locked in to end the half on both sides of the football?
For me, man, I just, as far as body language, man, I like to watch the warm-ups. So that right there lets me know if a guy's locked in. But I think, these guys, Brandon, I just think these guys are going to be ready to play, man. Based off, like I said, the bye week, man, they know what's at stake. They know if they win these next, 5-6 games, they can be bowl eligible. So I think these guys are going to be locked in throughout this, this last part of the season.
Yeah, me too, man. I think that you've made some good points about, just what that Arizona State game felt like. It did feel a little different, even though that ending hurt, right? It hurt us all. I'm sure it hurt them too. But something about that rhythm of that game from player to player, it felt different. It felt like real progress. And I think we're going to experience some of the ways that progress is going to manifest on the field, especially with, we've had consistency at spots. The defensive line's been very good. The offensive line's been very good. Running backs have been good. So it's not like there's just these places, Kobe's been just as good as we thought he would be, and then the best of Melo is as good as we thought it would be. Marvin Grant's been awesome. He's had games where he's dominated, it's just a matter of getting the best out of the guy when it's time, right? When it's winning time, when it's time to really perform, that's when you want to see this Kansas football team rise to the opportunity. And Saturday just presents a golden chance to do so against a team that you're better than, that's your favorite to beat. And I would say they're playing as well as they have on offense throughout the season, and defensively, they are playing consistently well at times. I thought they've made it really hard to complete passes consistently. They do sport one of the lowest completion percentages in the nation on defense. So it's just a team that does have strengths, and does have guys that can be playmakers. So if you had to pick Give me your two playmakers on defense you expect to rise to the occasion, have big games on Saturday.
Well, hopefully, if Kobe plays, Kobe for sure. Melo, I'm telling you, Melo is going to be a game changer this week. But I got to stick with the secondary guys, man.
Yeah, man.
My secondary guys.
I'm not surprised at all. You picked two corners, man. I'm not surprised at all.
Then I'm gonna go with OJ. I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna give you Melo and I'm gonna give you OJ. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're really gonna mess with Kobe, man.
Right.
But
yeah, they stay away from him. Yeah, I'd love to see Melo and OJ have a big game. I think Melo's been really close. That's the thing about Melo. There's, he got beat on the touchdown against Arizona State. He's a little out of position, but he is rarely out of position. It's usually just a matter of, how he plays the football on that play, where his eyes are, where his technique is. He's so close to turning some of these big plays that end up being killers to being the opposite. I think specifically about the West Virginia, the pass interference. I mean, that was close to being an interception. That was just as close to him intercepting, the game being over. And if they want to keep testing him down the field, I like his chances over and over again, because he's not a guy that's just getting beat off the line. He has struggled playing the ball in the air, but that can flip too. And I think he's a kind of athlete that can make that flip. As we flip the football over to the offensive side, give me two playmakers, man. I know we got the record chaser. I know he's got to be feeling that, right? Want to do that at home. So who do you think of the two offensive players you think are going to have big games this week?
JD is going to have a huge game. And just like you said earlier, I think Arnold, man.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Arnold's night or day on Saturday. I just got a feeling.
Yeah, man. I think that he is the version of LJ that we're used to seeing. If we get that, and we already know that Skinner and Grimm have put themselves in a position to be really great players. They've had consistent good performances. Well, hopefully those guys can build on that. If you throw LJ in there with that, with what we're doing in the running game and the offensive line, this becomes a team that we know they can be. It's a team that they know they can be. And that's what drives me to be super interested in that I feel like they've got a real opportunity to step into some of that magic that we predicted. I think it's still there. You have a chance to talk to these kids. These kids aren't worried about the past. These kids aren't worried about their doubters. They don't need external stimuli. These guys are here for the right reasons. And I think what we'll see at Arrowhead Stadium against Houston at 2:30 is those guys will be ready to deliver on that promise. Before we go, how can they get in contact with you with Harper Island? If they got young athletes out there looking to train, looking to become athletes, how can they get a hold of?
You can find me on Instagram, Harper Island Training, Facebook. Kendrick Harper is my name on Facebook. Those are my two. And then Twitter, I have Harper Island Training for Twitter as well, man. So you want to get trained by one of the best, come holler at me, man. I'm willing to help your kid out. Not only help them out training wise, but also mentoring them as well.
Yeah, man, nothing more important than mentorship, man. We see that, all the examples of that across the world. So we appreciate what you're doing, man. If you are trying to get a player, you got a player that's passionate, that wants to do the work, man, do not look past Harper Island Training. One of the best in the country, one of the best in the world, one of the best in the area. Get it, Kendrick Harper. We have another game coming for you Saturday, 2:30, Kansas, Houston. Tune into the Crimson and Blue show. It'll be an hour and a half before the game, so we'll go live at 1. Man, I can't wait to watch these Jayhawks. Rock Chalk.
Rock Chalk.